My name's Duncan Trussell, and this is the time I snorted a massive satanic rail of ketamine at Burning Man and went into a K-hole in front of my agent. I was pretty excited to hear that one of my agents was going to be at Burning Man, so I invited him to our camp. I was going to give him a tour at Burning Man. He'd never been before. I was going to be the first person to walk with him through the beautiful, incredible, mystical city that is Black Rock City. But because I was already in the spirit of Burning Man, without really considering what I was doing, I did a massive rail of ketamine in a tent. If you're gonna do ketamine, do it at one of the clinics. Don't do rails of ketamine. You don't know what's happening these days with white powders. It could have fentanyl in it. I can remember sitting next to the burner who had offered me this ketamine and doing what I thought was a normal amount of ketamine, and looked over, and this burner has this weird look on his face. And he says to me,
"See you later, man."
Not a good thing to hear, but I, at the time, wasn't quite familiar with ketamine dosages. And so I did an amount of ketamine that these days I know would be that you should only do it if you were dying and you didn't want to feel yourself die. It was that size of a dose. Now, ketamine takes a second to kick in. So I had just enough time to walk out of the tent and to sit down with my wonderful agent and one of his friends, and we started talking. And it was really a great conversation. You could look out and see the sun had just begun to set. You could hear music, the great carnival energy of Burning Man. I'm like, Joe, this is gonna be so great. Let's go walk out into it, man. I wanna show you I want you to see the sights. And so he's like, yeah, let's go. And I try to stand up, and it's like my legs had been turned to stone. Chronicles of Narnia level statue legs. They were paralyzed. I couldn't move my legs, which I thought for a second, this is pretty funny. My legs aren't working. But right as that thought started going through my mind, time stopped. Every moment was feeling right around 6 hours. So I was essentially in the sunken place. I could think pretty clearly, and I had a lot of time to think because every moment was taking 6 hours. And I'm trying to figure out a way to explain to my agent, well, you see, Joe, it looks like I may have taken a little too much ketamine, and I don't think I can walk with you maybe ever again, because it could be that I'm dying. I don't know. I've never felt time freeze before, but here in front of you and your friend who I just met, who I think is also from the agency you work for, your client very well might keel over and just die in the sand here. But instead, what was coming out of my mouth was, He looked at me and he's like, okay, Duncan, we're gonna go now and maybe we'll see you later. And I'm like, He leaves. I'm sitting there witnessing the flower of life. Suddenly it's like I'm seeing the flower of life. I'm no longer mortified by the fact that, I don't know, who knows, maybe I'm gonna get fired now. I don't know what the rules are with agents and clients on ketamine. Does my agency have something in their book about, if you're at Burning Man, your client goes into a K-hole, it's over. But I do know that time had frozen into one single frame. I fell over into the sand where one of my friends was also in the sand, and he looked at me and said, the floor's a wonderful place, man. So see, what happened is my Burning Man camp had all been doing ketamine. That's what it sounded like across the camp. Just people bellowing into the night, trying to talk. All of us were laying on the floors of the gravitational field of the earth that increased 10 times or something like that. No one's sure what's happening. I think I embarrassingly yelled out at one point, I am trying to keep the universe alive! My friend who I was laying on the ground next to at one point was like, what happened to your agent, man? Later, I tried to get in touch with my agent. Not sure what to say at Burning Man. There's no cell phone reception, but 3 weeks later, we went and got drinks. I was like, maybe this is it. This is where he's going to like drop the hatchet on me. And I'm like, Joe, I just want to apologize for going into a K-hole in front of you at Burning Man. And he got this big smile on his face, and he's like, Duncan, I represent comedians. You think I haven't seen that before? Which was like, what? You're the coolest guy ever. You mean that's something that happens? You've seen multiple clients go into the K-hole at Burning Man? Anyway, we still work together, and that's my story.
Tales from the